Welcome to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a national alliance on mental illness. We are the largest grassroots advocacy network for people with mental illness and their family members, with over 800 national affiliates and 13 Kansas affiliates, with NAMI Wichita being one of those 13. We provide awareness, support, education, and advocacy for people affected by mental illness. Our purpose here is to provide a community conversation on KSUN Radio that gives insight into what it's like to live with a mental illness. Our intention and our hope is that our program will change attitudes and assumptions and stereotypes about people with mental health conditions, and in so doing we will stop the stigma associated with mental illness. My name is David Larson. I am very pleased and proud to be your host today, and I am a person living with mental illness. I'm in recovery for major depressive disorder. Like everyone, I struggle with the ups and downs of emotions and the challenges of being fully human, but I am doing great. And I know I have many gifts to offer my family, my friends, and my community. Now, before I get too far into the program, I want to introduce David Peterson, our executive producer. Hello, David.
Hello, David.
And our production engineer. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, David.
And our technical producer, Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Hello. Mike. So, with that, we will now introduce our guest. And our guest today is Steve, or Steven. Which should I go with?
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I guess Steve.
Steve sounds good. I have a brother named Steve, so I'll go with Steve.
Okay.
So I'll consider you a brother. How's that?
Fantastic.
So to begin with, the question that we ask everyone is, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in northern Minnesota.
Okay.
A very alienating experience for a person as creative as me.
Oh, okay.
And grew up there. Then I moved to Minneapolis, which was the big city of Minnesota.
Okay.
Lived there and eventually wound up here.
Okay. So where did you graduate from high school and what was their mascot? That's a big question that they always ask.
I graduated from Bemidji High School, and the mascot was a lumberjack.
A lumberjack.
Yeah.
All right. Go Lumberjacks.
Yes.
All right. So, Steve, let's see here. What is your diagnosis?
Well, I've had lifelong dysthymia. Dysthymia has been the thing I've had all my life, and dysthymia is like a mild form of bipolar depression. They've really just now started discovering dysthymia. It's a pretty new thing because people who have dysthymia are usually barely functional most of the time, and so historically people with dysthymia, they've been those people that people have thought don't have a mental illness, but have been like, why can't you just get your crap together?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? And they're now finding out that that's dysthymia. So I've had that all my life. In 2011, I experienced a particularly savage case of police brutality, and the way I was treated afterwards in an attempt to cover it up was extremely unjust. They basically tried to ruin my life so I wouldn't tell my story instead of trying to make it right. And it left me with severe PTSD, major recurring depression, and a severe anxiety disorder.
Okay.
So in 2011, I found myself there. All of a sudden, this had happened, and I felt like I was going to fight back and everything, but then all of a sudden, I just started falling apart. And I couldn't finish school. I was an honor student in a design program. I was 2 quarters from finishing, and I couldn't do it anymore. And that was a hell of a time. And so my journey since then has been walking myself back from that. I consider myself fortunate in the area of being afflicted with mental health issues because a lot of people who have severe mental health issues, they're born with it.
Mm-hmm.
I had something happen, and before that I was relatively normal. So I've been able to make the journey since then with a memory of what relatively normal looked like.
Right.
You know, I was pretty lucky in that regard. Whereas, like a lot of people, they don't have a memory of what normal is. They're kind of trying to figure it out as they go and look at examples of normal and relate to it. So I've had a pretty remarkable comeback, but you know, I do want to state I don't think it's because I'm anything remarkable. I think it's because I was fortunate enough to have a memory of normal-ish that I
Yeah.
could work back towards.
Yeah, fair enough. And you've worked through a lot of stress, a lot of trials, a lot of struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's tremendous. Well, I am going to take a quick break here. This is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Our Own Voice is intended to humanize the misunderstood, highly stigmatized topic of mental illness by showing that it's possible and common to live well with a mental health condition. So, Steve, let me ask you this question, and that is, when did you first encounter NAMI? And how, I guess, what interaction have you had with NAMI?
I guess I first heard about NAMI shortly after I was diagnosed with severe PTSD and the other diagnoses that came up. I was, for a 2-year period, I was in and out of hospitalization and crisis centers, crisis stays for about a dozen times. And somewhere in there I heard about NAMI.
Okay.
And then when I was in a residential treatment program, NAMI actually came in and some people talked about living with mental illness. So I've had an awareness of NAMI. I haven't really done anything myself with NAMI.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm obviously a fan.
Well, good. And that leads us now to the next question. And you actually come to us by way of Breakthrough.
Breakthrough Club, yes.
And so what, when did you first encounter Breakthrough Club, and what have you done there at Breakthrough?
Well, I encountered Breakthrough Club, actually, I went through a period where I was homeless. Somebody had a chip on their shoulder about me for whatever reason and wound up triggering my PTSD, and I just fell apart. And so I was homeless, and I heard about this place, and I was like, well, cool, there's a place I can go and drink coffee and work on websites and stuff, because I was trying to just do my own thing as far as designing websites and stuff and pick
Right.
up clients. So I started going there, and eventually working with ComCare, I got into stable housing, and then I felt like I was ready to ease into the workforce again. And around that time, I learned about the YMCA and lifeguard certification. So Breakthrough gave me a grant to get the lifeguard certification.
Excellent.
Started doing that. And then I got interested in life saving as a result of that. And so I went to WSU Tech for the EMT program. I've completed that, passed my state board exam. I still need to prepare and take the National Registry, which I will be doing by the end of October. That'll all be done.
Excellent.
And then basically, yeah, I mean, when Breakthrough was really helpful because they gave me a scholarship to pay for the lifeguard certification. when you work as a lifeguard, typically you have to be certified and you have to come up with that money yourself.
Right.
So they helped me with that. And then when I started at WSU Tech, there was a glitch in the financial aid, and they actually granted me a scholarship that I didn't wound up not having to use for my books.
Okay.
So that I wouldn't get behind waiting for my books. So,
Excellent.
yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful to Breakthrough. There's a lot of good stuff happened there. A lot of good stuff came out of there. They did wind up actually, I can't believe I just remembered this, but they paid for me to get certified as a CPR instructor through the Red Cross.
That's wonderful.
Which I'm doing so that I can provide free CPR training to groups of people who are too poor to afford CPR training.
Right.
Because there's a thing in America, the idea is kind of, if you can't pay for it, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I think, well, yeah, maybe that's true with nice cars and TVs and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to, there are certain things like when you have a medical emergency, do you want the only person present to not have CPR training because they wanted it but couldn't afford it?
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm on a mission to do that. Right now I'm trying to find donors to cover the cost of the mannequins and everything for training and training supplies, that sort of thing. But that's what I'm about to do now. So, and all that was made possible by Breakthrough Club. So
Excellent.
I definitely
All right.
encourage anybody with issues to check into that place.
Yeah, Breakthrough Club is an amazing, amazing place that, well, and in fact, they're located at 1010 North Main, and that is now our new home base for NAMI, Wichita. So, so we're sort of being helped out by Breakthrough as well. So,
Cool.
well, let's see. Can I ask another question too? We're coming up on our next break. I think I'll wait. So, but just to recap, you received a scholarship, grant, whatever, from Breakthrough for life saving.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And he told
So-
us earlier he has saved 3 lives this summer.
That's right. So, well, let me then say this is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. We are talking with Steve, and we will be right back after these messages.
Our Own Voice is brought to you by NAMI. If you would like to learn more about the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the programs we offer, or get involved, please visit NAMI.org.
Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a National Alliance on Mental Illness. So, Steve, help our listeners understand that, well, that you have been through a lot of struggles and trials, and what some of those struggles and trials are.
Well, you know, obviously, lifelong with dysthemia, it's made everything hard. But once I went through that encounter with the police and had the severe PTSD and the major recurring depression, I spent a period where I was afraid to leave the house. I had a dog, and I sat in there with my dog, and I really hated police. I hated police on a profound level. I decided that all police must be bad. And the reason why was not because of what was done to me. It was because there were about a dozen other cops there who lied about it. And then there was a supervisor who made a fake police report about it, and a police chief who signed off on that fake police report. And then the state's like meanest, best prosecutor was assigned to me, and a bunch of bogus felony charges were piled on me. They tried to put me away for 20 years so I would not be able to tell my story or sue. So I decided, well, you got all these people involved. cops must just love this kind of thing. And so I hated them. And when I say I hated them, I mean when I saw on the news that a cop had died, I stood up and cheered.
Wow.
You know,
That's some intense feelings.
it is. When I got into martial arts, I got into Japanese swordsmanship when I got here. I was working with a sensei who has a background in law enforcement and works with law enforcement. And he started helping me through that in his own way. And it really helped.
Excellent.
And I went from that to now there are, overall, I will never trust police again. You know, I know my rights and I use them, and I don't consent to searches, and I encourage everybody never consent to searches, never let the police in your house. But, you know, I can say there are a few officers on Wichita Police Department that I hold in high regard and have a lot of respect for. So to get back to that point, and where I'm going into a line of work where I'm going to be working alongside police, you know, it's a good place to be. Hate does more harm to you than it does to the people you hate.
Exactly.
They go on with their life while your blood, it's proven, your blood becomes toxic when you hate. They did an experiment with rats, because rats have similar blood, where they injected a rat with human blood, nothing happened. They injected rat with an angry human's blood, and the rat died.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
So, yeah, well,
And then I went on, you know, partly because of that and partly because of Breakthrough, I went on and did the things I'm doing. And, you know, now I have the website Your Band Sucks, where bands send me their stuff and I write insulting reviews, and that's insult comedy. So
Okay.
I'm actually like making a name for myself as an insult comic now, and I'm working on an insult comedy stand-up routine that I'll be taking to clubs soon.
okay.
I've got
that-
into booking and promotion, Five Rings Entertainment.
Yeah, that's good that you've branched into the humor area, because a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to depression, it's not just about being sad. It's a lot more complex issues associated with depression. There's not being able to think clearly. There's not being able to sleep, or sleeping too much, or being exhausted all the time but still not being able to sleep. There's so many different other areas. It's not just about being sad, but a lot of people would look at you and say, well, if you have depression, how can you be doing humor? Well, because it's not just about being sad.
Well, yeah, and also it's a tool I use to cope with it, and I recommend to everybody dealing with depression, you know, listen to stand-up comedy, especially listen to roast battles. Those things are vicious and they're hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, watching people stand there and be told the things that are wrong with them and have fun with it, it's a good thing. And there's comedy classes out there. There's improv classes out there. I encourage anybody with depression, take an improv comedy class. Like,
Yes.
it's, you know, for me, it has done so much. It has helped, and it's just, you learn. Then when bad things happen, instead of going to your depressed mode, you find a way to laugh at them.
Right.
And that takes the intimidation factor out of them.
Yeah,
and allows you to.
In mental health arena, in the mental health arena, that's called reframing, and that's
Yes.
what we do.
It's a reset.
We reframe the issue and the situation so that we can look at it differently, and we can get a laugh out of it in the process.
Laughter has been proven to reset the brain, and in the
Yes.
tarot deck, the Joker is the first card. That's where everything starts, because it's a reset.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm
when
going to
you
have to
laugh,
cut you off
everything
now.
starts over.
So bear
Okay.
with me, but I need to say that this is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio, and we are talking with Steve, and we're going to take a quick break and be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a National Alliance on Mental Illness. Now, David, it's your turn, and I need to ask you, what is that wonderful information number that you give every time?
The wonderful information number is 316-686-1373.
Or
316-686-1373.
the way I like to hear it.
And we like to hear your music, by the way.
Well,
and
thank you.
That intro music was composed by our host, David Larson.
Thank you very much.
But please call that number if it's not an emergency, and we'll give you information about the ongoing classes, support groups, and programs that we have to offer at NAMI Wichita. But if you have a crisis, there is a crisis hotline I suggest you call, and if it's something that you deem to feel it needs an emergency, call 911. But please call 316-686-1373 for more information about NAMI, or you can find us on the website of www.namiwichita.org. And we'd be more than happy to give you some information about all of our programs, which are free of cost.
And speaking of our website, we're going through a rebuilding of our website to try to reach out to people more. So if you are listening and you happen to go to the website, please drop a message to, I believe it's webmaster@namiwichita.org, and let us know what you think of the website. So, all right, with that, I'm going to turn back to Steve, and I'm going to ask you, what hobbies do you have?
Well, I touched on them a little bit in the last one, a couple of them. The website Your Band Sucks,
Okay.
which is where bands send in their material, and I write really insulting reviews, very raw, savage adult humor, and some of the bands actually film themselves reading it for the first time, and that's hilarious. So I have reaction videos up there. The website for that is yourbandsucks.site, as an S-I-T-E.
Okay.
Because, of course, yourbandsucks.com was taken in 1990 something or other. And they're on Facebook. It's if you just type in Your Band Sucks, it'll come up.
Okay.
Then I also have Five Rings Entertainment. I didn't want to be a booker and promoter of shows, but one of my favorite bands in the world came to Wichita and played for my birthday party. And the drummer in it is with a actual national booking agency. And because I was feeling so grateful, I helped him with a couple of tour dates for some of his bands, and now I'm doing it on the regular. I actually have Droids Attack playing at the Elbow Room on October 13th, Sunday. I have Forming, which is a pretty heavy stoner rock band. Forming the Void, which is a psychedelic stoner rock band, on the 20th of October. Couple dates of Tail Light Rebellion, which is like Celtic, folk, punky roots rock,
Okay.
on November 25th at Kirby's, November 28th at Replay in Lawrence. And this show goes out in a week, right?
Actually, yes, but it will replay another week. And
Okay.
so we tend to
Well,
not be too specific
Because
about
the,
dates.
because the lid is down on this right now, but it's going to be announced this week. So I'll just let the cat out of the bag. I booked something I'm really proud of. I'm really disturbed by Wichita's human trafficking problem.
Mm-hmm.
Human trafficking is a big problem in the U.S., but what people don't know is, remember how small Wichita is in comparison to other cities. It's one of a dozen origin cities where
Yeah.
most of the product comes from. So I'm really bothered by that. And of course, I'm bothered by domestic violence, sexual assault. And I got together with people in the extreme music community, and this event is called For the Valkyries. And it is a concert. There's 5 bands, one international that is playing for gas money only. All these bands are giving up their time. Barleycorns gave up their room for free, no rental fee.
Awesome.
And the money being raised is paying for safety, prevention, self-defense training in that order, for survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking and sexual assault. Organizations that serve these people can come to us or can send people to us, and they'll get this training from a guy who's trained law enforcement and this kind of thing. So I'm really excited about that.
That is awesome.
And
that is wonderful work.
You'll be able to learn more about that at fiveringsentertainment.com.
Okay.
That's my website. And also, if you look up Steve Shagwell on Facebook, I have a public page. There'll be information on there, or on Twitter. And
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
those
Well,
are kind of my hobbies.
Now, to wind things up, you don't have a pet any longer, but you used to have a dog that helped you through your depression and such. What was the dog's name?
His name was Venom. He was a Rottweiler, and he was everything to me. So I credit him with getting me through the darkest time, and then I credit my, Japanese swordsmanship, which you can find at Wichita Parks and Rec, by the way,
Okay.
with getting me through from there.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Steve, for talking with us on Our Own Voice. And please join us next time for our Own Voice program.
Thank you.